fantasized of buying a shipping container online for a few $1,000s and transforming it into this modern, amazing, trendy home? Well, turns out you're not alone. In fact, if you Google modular shipping container home, there's an astounding 11.2 million hits on Google. So what's the deal with shipping container homes? Are they legal? Are they difficult? Are they cheap? Here, we're going to give you the definitive guide on shipping container homes. I totally understand the appeal and the fascination with shipping containers and turning them into homes, especially when you see beautiful imagery all over the internet of gorgeous homes that are indeed made of shipping containers. So logically, I think this really appeals to us as like, yes, I can understand why this would make sense. But if we scratch just a little bit below the surface, we find that it's not as practical, affordable as people would have us seem. So let's first start with the strength of a shipping container. Obviously, shipping containers are really strong because they have to be stacked so many high, and they're shipped across the ocean. And so surely this would make for a really strong home, right? Let's pretend for a minute that this box is a shipping container. Okay, so for my shipping container to make sense and for it to be a home, I need to cut into it. I need windows, I need doors, and a lot of the shipping containers have these giant, gorgeous openings at the beginning. All right, so I'm making my doorway here on my shipping container. Can you guys see what I'm doing here? Do my best to not stab myself on camera. Okay, so now I have my doorway for my shipping container, but I also need windows because, just one door is not sufficient. So I'm gonna cut these windows. Getting a little harder to cut because it's a bit flimsier now. Sure, I'm gonna get a comment of someone telling me how unsafe what I just did was. Okay, so now I have my shipping container that's got a big window and it's got my nice door. Well, because we've cut into the structure, now it's not as structurally sound. And so we've taken away some of the things that makes this strong. And so the interesting thing about shipping containers is that the metal itself is very flimsy and thin. What gives it its strength is the corrugation and the corner joists. And so when we start to cut into it, we lose some of that structural integrity. Let's talk about the legality of shipping container homes. Can you take a shipping container and turn it into a legal dwelling? Absolutely. But it's not as simple as you might think. So every jurisdiction is going to have their own local building code, and that ensures that buildings that are made for people to live in are safe and, comfortable. So if you're going to turn a shipping container into a legal dwelling unit, your shipping container has to be built up to standard building code. And the code in everyone's jurisdiction is going to be a little bit different. And typically there's a code change every 3 years. So for you to have a legal shipping container, you're going to need things like a foundation, whether that's put on piers or a slab on grade. You're also going to need insulation. So if you're going to build a shipping container home, you're probably going to have to blow in insulation. You're going to need to put drywall up. You're going to need to do all of these things to bring it up to local building code. And so this is where we can start to debunk the myth that shipping container homes are really affordable. The reality is they're no more affordable than a traditional stick-build construction. Sorry, I hate to break it to you. I hate to be the bearer of bad news here, but I got to give it to you straight. I think part of the confusion around shipping container homes is honestly fueled by companies that stand to profit from it. So for example, Home Depot, which is a really reputable construction supply company, offers shipping container homes that they've even tagged in the title as a tiny home or an accessory dwelling unit, an ADU. And you can go and buy them for $18,000. So if companies like this are selling this home, then is what I'm saying accurate? Unfortunately, yes. And I think that they're doing a bit of a disservice, kind of convincing people or pretending that you can buy this $18,000 product and somehow have a secondary home in your backyard. If you were to buy that product, for example, it would really just be qualified as a really fancy looking shed. You can't put electricity in it. You can't put plumbing in it unless you apply for building permit and again, put it on a foundation, put in the insulation, bring it up to standard code. And so there's a lot of, solutions out there that look really great, again, at the surface level, but as you start to dig in, aren't legal options for your backyard. And you certainly wouldn't be able to legally rent that type of a unit. And if you did, you'd be leaving yourself up to massive liability if something were to go wrong. Given all of this, when does a shipping container home really make sense? So I love the look of shipping container homes. I'm really into design. I think they're trendy and cool and awesome. But I think the important thing for you to understand is if you want to build a shipping container home, that you need to realize it's going to be a very similar price point to if you built something, from traditional construction methods. And so I think the time in which a shipping container home really works is if you just love that design aesthetic and that's what you're going for, and you understand the cost is going to be more expensive. You're not necessarily going to save time. You're not necessarily going to save money, but that's a look that you really love. If you're interested in building a shipping container home on your property or an accessory dwelling unit or anything in that realm, we'd be happy to help you. We have tons of free tools, case studies, resources, and videos like this at our website, maxablespace.com. Oh, and can you make sure to subscribe? That would be awesome. Thanks.